All right, so today we're going to be doing a bit of a Q&A. This is kind of last minute. I was looking at my schedule, and next weekend I pretty much won't be available. And then on top of that, you got the Cletus pay-per-view. So decided to just go live today and see what's going on. So let's get logged into the chat. All right. Let me mute my computer. Okay. Let's see. All right, so yeah, if you guys have any questions, go ahead and ask them. I'm free format on this one. I don't really have anything to discuss personally. Let's see. Oh, here we go. All right. Hey, Carl. No problems. What mods? Sorry, let me scroll up. What mods have made the most improvements outside of the blower sending unit problem? Hey, Carl, what car are you talking about? Are you talking about the SS or the truck? Sending unit. Corvette. What sending unit are you talking about? That's a... I'm just trying to think. What sending unit? The fuel pressure one? Is that the one you're talking about? Because if it's fuel sending unit... Okay, so you're talking about the fuel level sensor. Those do go bad. Mine was just, dropping the tank and essentially replacing everything inside of the passenger tank. And I almost replaced everything on the, I'm sorry, driver's side tank. I'm thinking about the wrong side of the car. So basically replaced everything in the driver's side tank, including the fuel pump, the fuel level sensor, and all of the plastic tubes and vent tubes. And I actually replaced the middle tube. And on the passenger side, all we replaced was the vent tubes. It was on the other side of that transfer tube, and the fuel level sensor as well. So that's really all I replaced on that side. Besides that, what mods? I would say tires and suspension is probably the next best thing. A good set of coilovers, a good set of sway bars is always a good thing you can do. I'm a big fan of brake kit, so I've got the Z06 brakes on the Corvette, and on the SS we did the Brembos from the CTSV and the ZL1. So I'd say those are the two big things. You could always do, tune, intake, exhaust, so headers and catback, whatever you want to do. The Corvette NPP system, I'd almost would rip out. I don't see many people keeping the NPP exhaust. I mean, the C6 in particular, they are now The newest one is 6 years old or older, 7 years old or older. So I see most people rip off the the factory valve exhaust and just go with Corsa or something like that. We can talk about the SS if we want, but again, SS is mostly intake, exhaust, and headers, but keeping the stock mufflers. Have the dreaded loudmouth. So, are you getting a lot of drone with the loudmouth? What I mean by drone is like at sixth gear, at 75 RPM. I'm sorry, in sixth gear at like 1500 RPM. Is it really loud? Is it really like bleh? It just sounds bad. I had that with actually the NPP exhaust, so I got rid of it. And sway bars, I would just get something that's adjustable. The factory sway bars use rubber bushings, so get something with poly bushings and usually just adjustable. Um, Ibach, Adco. Yeah, I don't know if Adco makes a Corvette sway bar. Let me look. The benefit of being inside, I have a computer to look stuff up. Looks like Adco does make a Corvette. Anyway, I think you just want to look at a sway bar that has where the end links go. There's like three holes, and that way you could tune it for like medium, low, or high aggressiveness. However, each brand of sway bars has their own tuning technique, and I've got the Fott Racing sway bars, so I think mine are both in the middle. Yeah. Well, I don't have a front sway bar in the car right now, but I think it's in the middle and the back. The Corvette is on the lift just due to clearance issues. We've got an upcoming video where we're going to get some new tires, and I went to a car show last week. Actually, that was Friday's video, and it rubbed really bad, so I have to basically just extend the length of the coilover, and that way it doesn't rub anymore. So that's pretty much what that will be. That video will be in a couple weeks, and FYI, the Corvette is back on the ground. It was only on the lift just to adjust those coilovers. So, but all right. Oh, we got 5 viewers. Cool. Like I said, this chat's free form. If you guys got questions, go ahead and ask. Hey, Angelo, the fender liner and I've got the ZR1 style splitters. That little splitter pocket that connects from the side splitter that goes up. That part was rubbing on the inside of the fender, so I had to trim that. You'll see that in a few weeks. But and actually, to give you guys a little bit of inside information, I completely melted through the rear fender liner on the passenger side rear. So it was just a little bit low, and I've got a big hole in my fender liner. I think I'm just gonna go buy some plastic and no, this was when I hit bridges. The Charlotte area does not know how to pave roads around bridges, so every time I hit a bridge, so going up, they basically like make it a little jump almost. So it rubs, hit going onto the bridge and landing, and coming off the bridge and landing. When the suspension compressed all the way, it rubbed and melted through the fender liner. So But yeah. Oh, I got 7 viewers today. Cool. Must be because NASCAR is on rain delay. We were watching the race, and I think they've gone on delay twice now. So, like, all right, I'm going upstairs. But yeah, Angela. Otherwise than that, I wasn't having any rubbing. But well, what happened was I put on bigger tires and I never adjusted the ride height, and so it was riding low on a smaller tire. Now we're running too low on a wider tire, basically. So that's what happened. So. And thank you, Carl. Keep working on these videos up until we run out of content. We're not at that point just yet. So, I know a lot of people have truck requests. That'll be later this year. I've just got a lot of Corvette projects to finish up before we get to it. And actually, I got a new SS project coming up, so we'll do those first. But, all right, what else going on? When is Cletus's pay-per-view? Give him a shout out. All right. Burnout Rivals. June 20th. So is that next Saturday? Oh, it is next Saturday. Okay. Yeah, I'm definitely not going to be live streaming during that because there'll be no one on YouTube. But anyway, yeah, go support the big YouTubers. All right. And actually today we shot 2 videos for the channel. Just finished uploading one. I gotta get back to the chat. Hey, 4/5. Is that spelled right? Fifths. Yeah, okay. Sorry, I was trying to read your screen name. It's like, how small is it? Thank you. You know, we try to do these videos as best as I can, and you know, it's pretty much just me in the shop, and you know, we do events with people sometimes, but obviously this isn't my full-time job, so that's kind of why our videos are about once a week. So, but anyway, if you have any SS questions, 4/5, feel free to ask. You may have been on the last stream. I know I was giving advice to someone. I think they were looking at a 17, something like that. But yeah, feel free to keep asking questions, guys. I don't have a problem with that. But Angela, I was discussing with a friend of mine this weekend about a new motor and blower setup. Just, you know, getting his idea, and he went turbo. Well, he's got a Caprice, but similar setup, and just bouncing ideas off of him. And I might just keep the car the way it is, the Corvette. I know I have a big vision in my head of what I want to do with the car, but we just got the car together, and I almost don't want to tear it apart again for you know, spending a ton of money, and I think we're just gonna keep driving it for a while. So, well, I got more projects to do, but the drivetrain setup, I think we're just gonna keep it the way it is. But what else going on? Plenty of new content coming up. Like I said, we'll be Corvette heavy for the next couple weeks. I need to order some parts for the SS before we can get that project started. And the truck, I don't know. The truck is, I know a lot of guys like those videos, and that's actually where a majority of my views come from, but it's mostly just the repair stuff, and knock on wood, it's been running pretty fine right now. So, but what else going on? It's hot out. It's miserable in the shop, so that's no fun. Try to move this down a little bit. Okay. And if it looks like I'm red, it's because I got sunburned yesterday. We were at a car event, and even though I was under a tent, I still got sunburned. So, kind of weird. All right. What else in the world of YouTube? Nothing too crazy. Like I said with the stream, next week with Cletus's YouTube stuff going on, I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna not gonna do another live stream. Might be a couple weeks, but yeah, so we've got a video for next Wednesday, next Friday, and then the following Wednesday we'll obviously have a video, and then the following Friday or Saturday we might stream. Worst mistake you've done to a car engine? Blowing up an engine at the drag strip. Man, this was like 20 years ago. God, 2000. So that would have been around 2002, 2003, something like that. I was at the drag strip and came home on a trailer. I had a Chevy Beretta that we were drag racing, and the car was like, should have run like 12s, 13s. It was running like 17s and 18s in a quarter mile, trapping really low. I should have known that from that was a warning sign. But eventually the engine, by like the 5th or 6th pass during the day, it spun a bearing and shot. I don't know, did it spin or did it blow a rod? Shot the bearing through the oil pan and leaked oil all down the car, and yeah, so thankfully the car wasn't moving. That was at the starting line, trying to rev it at like, I don't know, 4,000 RPM, and so that's the worst mechanical thing I've ever done to a car. I've crashed a few cars. I crashed one Beretta. Yeah, I crashed my first Beretta. I had 3 of them. So that's kind of what got started on this whole car craziness. Crashed the Beretta. I think that's the last accident I've been in. That was in high school. So I haven't been in an accident in a long time. So, but what else? I wish. So much Beretta destruction. Yeah, I crashed one. I blew one up. I scrapped the third one. I was building a Beretta Z26 with the built V6 with forged pistons and all that. I was going to do nitrous on it. And then I got a job. Actually, I got the job that moved me down here from Chicago to Charlotte. I got that job back in 2007. I had a car with no motor in it, and I had no way of transporting it. I was moving from my parents' house that had a garage and shop to an apartment with no garage. There's obviously no way I could transport a project car with no motor. So I parted that thing out. I actually made money on that, I think. I parted that car out, and I donated the carcass to charity, and I'm pretty sure they just scrapped it. So that was my Beretta history. And yes, I went to Beretta Fest. They actually have their own national event. Car clubs do that, and I've gone to probably like 7 of those, something like that. So, but what else? Oh, I was gonna say, I hope to improve my streaming, but if we stay inside, just because it's so hot. What I want to do, I want to borrow a Snowblind Bird. This is going to be really random. Was that a screen name on Breadnet or B Stuff? That sounds like someone from Wisconsin. Like a screen name from Wisconsin. I could be wrong, but that's... Okay. it's ringing a bell. Okay, cool. Well, I'm glad you found the channel. I don't know. Maybe we're friends on Facebook. I can't put a real name to your screen name, so I don't know if you found my channel or we're friends on Facebook and you followed me there. That's cool. I need to update the preview. But anyway, so yeah, we had a lot of Berettas. I had a Cavalier, had a Grand Am, 99 Grand Am. Then I went down this Pontiac phase. My second car was a Chevy. No, I'm sorry, Pontiac Sunbird. I had that for about a week. Long story short, it had a bad engine in it. Then I bought my first. I had three Berettas. I had a Cavalier, 94 Cavalier, 99 Pontiac Grand Am. I had that for like 3 or 4 years. Then I had a Pontiac Grand Prix GTP. Yeah, that was 99 Grand Prix GTP. I had that for a few years. Then I bought my first Holden, so that was the Pontiac G8. I had that for like 5 years. That was my daily. Then I bought the truck. Cool. Thank you, Snowblind Bird. That sucks. I can't. Don't post your name. Send me a message. We'll figure out what your what your actual name is. But that's all right. But yeah, so we've gone through a ton of cars and not much on the channel. I kind of wish I had started the channel a few years prior to when I did. I know I've been doing this for nice. Where? Oh, here we go. CTS V2s. Hey, Four Fists, were any of the guys running the 2650 from Kong Performance? I would really like to see that. It's a really good question. Because I was 2650 was in that conversation about a motor and blower setup for the car. But anyway, where is Silver Dollar Motorsports? That Google that. Reynolds, Georgia. Yeah, I don't know where that is. So that's southwest of Atlanta. No, south of Atlanta. Okay. Well, that's cool. I have not been to that area. I-75. Yeah, that 2650s would be awesome, but man, it's like $6,000. You know, I didn't even buy my E-Force for that. I think I paid about 3,000 for my E-Force. I bought it used, and the LSA on the SS, I pieced that together for like $3,500, and that was over the course of a few years. So I never really had a payment of like $3,000 all at once, but yeah, like $6,000, and that's just the blower. The lid is another like $2,500 because I would need. We're specifically talking about the Corvette here. If I was going to put that 2650 on the Corvette, I would need a short block from somewhere, Texas Speed, Blueprint, whoever. I'd probably go with a forged 427, because if you're going to buy a short block from somewhere, the price difference between like a forged LS3 and a forged 427 in the grand scheme of things, is not that much money. Like if you're already going to spend like $4,000 or $5,000 on a LS3, spending another $1,500 for a 427 with better rods, pistons, and all that, it almost makes sense just to do the big stroker. And with the 2650, that blower is not built for a small car, a small cube engine. Like you'll see a stock LSA, not a stock LSA, but maybe a forged piston rod LSA only put down like 900 horsepower, when you'll see a 416, a 427 putting down 11 or 1200 horsepower. And it simply just has to do with cubic inches inside the motor, and allowing that thing to breathe, because um, so. And honestly, guys, if I did go down the route of buying a 427, I would not buy an iron block at this point, because I haven't seen anyone maxing out a 2650 with a built 427, whether it's Texas Speed or whoever provided the engine. I don't want an extra 100 pounds of iron over the front end on a Corvette, because the weight's already off because of it's 50/50, but you add a 100 pound blower, then you add a 100 pound block. You just added 200 pounds of weight to the front end, and there's not much you can do to a Corvette to take weight off. Like, I've done as much as you can. I have a carbon fiber fenders, carbon fiber hood. We've got projects coming up to lighten it a little bit more, and yeah. Can you build engines? I can assemble things, if that makes sense. Like I can put cylinder heads on. I've done head blower intake on the Corvette. Um, I did basically with the Corvette, I took the oil pan off. I had to put the windage tray, because I have a crank scraper on that. I have the improved racing crank scraper. I put that on, so you're basically taking off everything with the windage tray, the bolts for the main caps. Uh, so I mean, I could put it together, but I honestly would not feel comfortable assembling it myself, just because there's tolerances. There's um, you got to worry about crush depth with your bearings, your bearing clearances. You got all that stuff. So that's why I would more than likely go buy a crate, not a crate, but a short block, and just put all my Corvette accessories on it, because um, I'm just not comfortable with spending, say, $1,000 on pistons and rods. Your machine work, to clean up the block, is going to be, say, $500 to $1,000. I wouldn't feel comfortable with assembling it, just because of, like I said, like, and you might forget something, like LS motors have, well, maybe not LS motors, but some motors have oil galley plugs. Some motors have, like, you know what I mean? Like, they all have their quirks, and I just, I would rather pay someone to have a short block for me. I can put a set of heads on. I'm not afraid about that, um, and do that. So, but and same thing with transmissions and differentials. Like I think you get a piston right, but I'm glad you said the piston. Um, tolerances for your piston rings, the scraper ring, the oil ring, all that stuff has to be, like, finely tuned, and you want rings opened up for boost, etc. And I just wouldn't be comfortable doing that, if that makes sense. Like a transmission, I'm not tearing a transmission down. I'm taking that. I'll take it out. I'll take it to someone, a specialist, have them rebuild it. And same thing with a rear diff. I'm not messing around with a diff, especially a Corvette diff. Holy crap! I've already had issues with a diff, and I don't want to do that again. So, and that was just putting the covers on. That wasn't physically going inside of the diff and trying to put stuff together. So And same thing with paint and body work. I've painted things in the past, like rattle can, but I don't have a gun. I'm not rebuilding cars here. So if I get something nice, like I want it to look nice, I'm not gonna paint it. And someone just commented, sorry I missed it. Push rods are all the same size on a Harley. Okay. I think I could be wrong. I think LS push rods are all the same too. I don't know. I haven't had to. Yeah, I think you're right. I think the push rods are all the same length on an LS. Push rods cam. I've done all that. It's just the fine details of the final assembly. Just, there's something. There's a big difference between putting a camshaft in and you know putting rod and a piston in. Like I just don't have the expertise to do it. To be honest, you could do it. I'm not saying you can't, but like I said a couple minutes ago, I would not want to spend all this big money on parts, put it together, and something's wrong. Especially the one thing I've seen with LS motors, the oil pickup tube, that O-ring. I've not had a problem. I've put two of them in, but I see people pinching that O-ring on the bottom of the oil pump, and they don't have any oil pressure. They're like, oh, I'm cranking my engine over, it's not building oil pressure. Well, it's going to build oil pressure like instantly, not 10 minutes down the road of having the car warm up. So, but yeah. And Snowblind Bird, you sent me a message on Facebook. Man, my internet's slow. Oh, okay. Snowblind Bird, I now know your name to a face. Okay, cool. What was that comment? That'd be cool. I've got a Duramax, so I don't have anything special about a 4.8, but I actually looked at a couple years ago as like a daily, like a 4.8 5 speed. Was it 5 speed? Yeah, I think it was a 4.8 with a 5 speed 2-wheel drive. Would have been a cool little truck, but I think they wanted like 10 grand for it. I was like, yeah, no. It was 8. Anyway, it was about like a $4,000 truck that they wanted to double the price. So, but that'll be cool. If you put a 6 liter in it, if you're gonna do that swap, make sure you have your cam sensor and the reluctor ring, all that's correct, because don't pull a me. When I did the LS9 camshaft swap on the Corvette, I've complained about this in the past, but the Corvette has a 1 of 1 year ECM and 1 of 1 year camshaft ring, if that makes sense. The sensor ring on the end of the cam. Make sure you get all the right stuff, because you don't want to be putting that in your car or your truck. I'm sorry, getting all together, firing it up, and it won't fire because either the crankshaft reluctor ring's wrong, or uh, the ring on the end of the camshaft, the sprocket, the sensor where it reads it, that's wrong, because that sucks. I actually paid my tuner to take the car back apart and swap in my old. Well, actually, I'd buy a new one. And that's the other thing. Don't throw parts out. So make sure the parts are correct and don't throw out your old parts. I had to buy that sprocket twice. I'd bought the wrong one. Then I'd buy the new old one, and I paid my tuner $300 to take the car apart and put that cam sprocket in because I had been working on the car for like 6 weeks at that point, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm done effing with this thing. So they they put it in, tuned it, and I made 450 wheel with that LS9 cam, ported LS3 heads and LS3 intake, a stock LS3 car intake. Oh, I did headers at the same time. Yeah. 3.6 Impala. I'm trying to think, is that before the 3.5 and the 3900? I kind of stopped paying attention to the W body Impalas a long time ago. I don't know. I don't know what motor's in there. Um, let's look really quick. So, 2012 Impala. Okay, yeah, that is the newer body style. It's not the old ones. Yeah, they put all kinds of crazy motors in there. LFX. But yeah, I almost said 2/5. I think it was 4/5. I apologize. Uh, where the hell did that video go? Oh, there it is. 4/5. I used to be really into the front wheel drive stuff. You know, I had Berettas, Cavaliers, Grand Prix, and yeah, so I used to know a lot about those engines, specifically the 60-degree V6 stuff. But I think there was a transition, I think 2010 or something, when they got rid of the 3500, the 3900, and they went to all the like multi-valve and stuff engines. So LFX. Hard just to find a picture. But anyway, um, yeah. So we've been all over the place tonight. But that's fine. 4.8 truck, 6 liter. That'll be pretty sweet. If it's an automatic with a 4L60, uh, throw the transmission in the dumpster. Don't bother building one. Get a 4L80. Not that I have experience with it, but just for all the memes that you see out there about a 4L60, throw it in the dumpster. $1,900 truck. That'd be nice. It's a lot cheaper than other stuff. So, yeah, if you get a junkyard engine and a junkyard trans, strip all that stuff out and swap in what you want. 2006. What motor would that be? If you got another 2006 engine, it would be a LS2 out of Trailblazer. Is that right? Yeah, the LS3s weren't out yet. L92s weren't out yet. I would say you'd be fine with an LS2, but do the LS3 top end, and you can make 500 wheel all day long with a cam. All right. What else going on? So we talked about the trucks, Corvette, SS. Oh, welding. We just finished up a welding project, so that I suck at welding. I'll be the first to admit to that. But there will be some welding back on the channel using that AHP TIG welder. So that'll be coming up. I think in 3 weeks that video will premiere. Yeah, something like that. We got a couple seat videos. You saw us pick up the C7 seats last week. Well, that was kind of like the introduction to a bunch of new projects, and yeah. The unfortunate thing about that is we're delayed by parts. I think we complained about this last week, or whenever last time we chatted was parts. I've been waiting on parts for those seats for, I think I called them on August 27th. Did I say April? I meant. Yeah, I ordered the seat parts April 27th. I reached out to them about March 15th, and now it's almost June 15th. Yeah, so we're almost going on 8 weeks of waiting on parts for the truck, or for that seat project. So, unfortunately, I think what's going to happen is we're going to do a couple seat videos. We're not going to install them, and then we've got welding and some suspension, and then maybe the seat parts will come in. Maybe we'll install the seats. So that's kind of what's going on. I'm delayed with parts, but I can't really complain. I mean, this is really the only like custom piece that I've been waiting on for 2 months now. But I think that's true with almost anything, especially with global issues going on right now. So, all right, we got 5 people. Hey, that's cool. So like I said, if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. And Snowblindbird, if you're still on, thank you for watching and subscribing. I was not aware you were a subscriber, so thank you. What else? Let's talk about YouTube for a second. I'll say one of two things. The first thing, if you guys are looking for a real interesting project, thanks again, Mark. If you guys want to look at an interesting project, look up Junkyard Dave. He's building a Dodge Magnum wagon into a Hellcat wide body, with it using a Charger. I think he's on his 5th car of parts cars to get all these parts together, and his videos are fairly decently edited. Some videos he uses way too much time lapse, but it's just the overall concept of what he's doing. Hey Miles, how's it going? But to finish that up, go check out Junkyard Dave. I think that's my most favorite project on YouTube right now, that people that I'm subscribed to, making a Dodge Charger into a Magnum wagon turbo all-wheel drive thing. Miles, yeah, I have a reservoir to put in. I haven't wanted to cut up the car, and what I mean by that is just the spot where you put your reservoir. I've got a tank to put in there. I've just been kind of not wanting to tear the car apart. 255 pulley, I looked into that. Probably need new injectors, to be honest. I think he said you have 85 pound-per-hours in there. I think I have 60 pound in there maxed out. And yeah. Oh, and that box he gave me, might use it, might not. We're open in the air. Anyway, if you guys behind the scenes, Miles and I went to a car event yesterday, and I bought some parts off of them. Fuel Injector Clinic 850s. Let me look those up. Oops. I think I have Fuel Injector 1000s. On the Corvette. 90. Oh, yeah, man. You know, with too bad you're limited by the ZL1 pump. I think those would do E80. Excuse me. I think those would do E85 with no issue. Uh, yeah, I've had no issue with fuel injector. Holy crap! I swear I checked my email today. I've got 30 emails. Sorry, guys. Fuel injector clinic. Man, I know I ordered one. Shipping confirmation. Okay, so I have the FIC 1000s, which are. I'll tell you in a minute. Okay. So the 3 bar, 95 pound per hour. That's what it was. Okay, cool. Man, those are expensive. $1,000 in injectors. No, 800. Well, what's 100 times 8? Yeah, 800 in injectors. Ouch. So, yeah, I think I would definitely need injectors if I went to a smaller pulley, which isn't horrible, but I'm impressed that you guys are running the stock fuel pump with no no booster pump. I think Tom's car has a booster pump or did. I don't know. I don't know who's tuned Tom's car. I don't think it's the people that we were talking about yesterday. I don't think they're tuning it in anymore. Nice. Yeah, you might be on the ragged edge on a full E85 setup. Um, I think you would need some kind of fuel pump, but your injectors, you got room to grow with. I maybe the guys out in Raleigh only did the transmission tune. He was talking something about how PCM tuned it one way, and then there was they would reduce ignition timing during the shift so that it shifted smoother. So I thought he had someone out in Raleigh, whoever, one of those guys, thought he had someone look at it. So I don't know. You know, it might be tuned, it might not be, but not that important. But anyway, wow, they charge shipping. If your product is $100, I don't think you should charge shipping, especially at $12. Anyway, that was 2 years ago. Maybe I paid less. All right, so we've been on here 49 minutes. That's cool. What else was I talking about? Junkyard Dave. You know, there was something. Let me go back to that. Impala, no. But yeah, if you guys are just joining, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. You know, tonight we're free forming this one. I don't really have an agenda or anything to go down to talk about. So, but hey, Miles, do you know if NASCAR ever restarted? I know it was raining, rain delay, stopped twice, and so I just came upstairs. I don't know if it ever picked back up. So if those are 94 pounds per hour. Oh. I've misread my injectors. Whoops. So my injectors at 58 psi flow 114 pounds per hour. Whoops. I've been telling people the whole time. 114 pounds per hour. Okay, that makes sense why I can run ethanol. I did not realize that. So what I'm talking about is Miles and his brother have a specific injector, so it's an 850, and it flows 94 pounds per hour at 58. I have the 1000 cc on the Corvette, and it flows 114 per hour. PS, 114 pounds per hour. So that's the difference. Okay. Uh talk to Charles if you can run ethanol, but I don't know. There's a gain. Like I gained 60 real world. ID 1050s. Nice. Yeah, that's kind of what I planned on the Corvette. I mean, when I bought those injectors like 3 years ago, I've done three smaller pulleys and I added ethanol, and I've not had to buy new injectors. Now, if I was going to go to the 2650 and the Corvette, which we've been discussing on and off during this chat tonight, I'm pretty sure I would need new injectors just to due to the fact I think you would need, I don't know, 2000 cc, 2500 cc, something like that. I don't know the numbers, their number games. All the fuel injector companies kind of call it differently, but if I were to go that route, my fuel setup would be fine. I would have to buy new fuel rails and injectors. The fuel rails are like $500, give or take. The GM fuel rail for the LS9 is like $400. So buy an aftermarket billet fuel rail that will flow more. Not a big price difference there. And what else were we? Oh, but if I use the lid from Kong Performance, I couldn't use the GM fuel rail. There's something like that, but anyway, I currently am running a parallel fuel rail. What that means is there's a wide distribution block coming off of the fuel line, the input. There's a wide distribution block going to both fuel rails, goes past all the injectors. Then at the other end, there's another wide distribution block pulling them together. Or you can put a fuel pressure regulator there, and that's what I have on the Corvette. So I have that set to 58 psi. Because if you guys remember from the Corvette videos, we dropped 20 pounds of fuel pressure on the dyno, and like I saw 30 on the street. So I changed the fuel setup to the parallel setup. We added the fuel pressure regulator, and we added a return line back to the back of the tank, and we put in a bulkhead fitting. So that's kind of what I would do if I ran the 2650. Sorry guys, I'm moving the camera. And that's just due to the fact that's kind of like the best LS fuel rail setup that they have out there is the parallel. Not saying that the stock fuel rails aren't fine, but up to a certain horsepower, and if you're going with a 2650, you would max out the stock fuel rail. I think people see fuel pressure drop. Kind of like how the cooling system is on the back cylinders, where they're capped off on most cars. The current cars. The fuel does the same thing. It's like once it gets to the last cylinder number 8 on the back on the passenger side. Depending on which fuel rail, the LS9, the fuel rail comes in on the driver's side. On the LSA, the fuel rail comes in on the passenger side, so it's a little bit different, but basically whatever fuel line is furthest from the fuel rail input, that last cylinder they run lean, and they have a tendency they can blow up because there's no fuel. So that's kind of why everyone goes with 4 fuel rails or iridium or whatever. Olson Custom Works, that's another one I've been looking at. So anyway, I've been babbling about fuel rails for a few minutes. What were we talking about? I apologize, guys. Commodore, thank you for joining. I just saw your chat. It's probably 11:18 in the morning there, maybe 12, depending on what time of the time zones are. I'm assuming Australia has time zones. I actually have no idea. Um, Depending on where you are in the world. But I think Australia's got. I think they're 13 hours ahead, depending. Oh, never mind then. No, that's fine. That's cool. We get Australian. I get Australian people on the chat, which is kind of cool because I wouldn't think my channel gets many views in Australia, but I apparently get some. So MRG. It's not magnetic gray metallic. What's MRG? Uh, Mystic Red? No. Anyway, what kind of car do you have? Commodore. I'm assuming it's a G8 or an SS. Oh, there you go. That's cool. All right, what were we doing? 2015 with an LSA. Nice. I'm glad to see the LSA swap still popular. The price has doubled, unfortunately. Um, we saw a 2015. Was it? I saw a LSA swap this weekend with a brand new kit from Boost District, and that new blower looks really nice. Mine looks like crap. I mean, it's been on the car for 3 years, but yeah, it's kind of weird. It had the whole. It was a brand new blower from GM. So nice. Okay. Yeah, I got my blower for $500, 550 shipped, I think. But I've had that blower for like, geez, I think I had that supercharger 2 years before I put it on. Um, I actually had. I don't tell my better half this, but I actually had two superchargers sitting in our house before I actually installed them. Like I was talking about maybe like 10 or 15 minutes ago. Um, the Corvette I kind of bought all at once, but the LSA swap I literally bought the blower first. Then over the next like 2 years, I finally gathered all the parts together, and that's when we started the swap. I think it was 3 years ago, something like that. I'd have to look up the videos, but yeah. So what Commodore, what horsepower is it making? How many pounds of boost are you making? I'm always curious to see what other people are making, just because mine's like bone stock with a set of headers, so it's probably making a little less boost than other folks. All right, dashboard. Videos. Supercharging the SS. So this was back 551 on a Mustang. That's actually impressive because a Mustang dyno is usually, I don't know, 30 wheel, 40 wheel less than a dyno jet. I mean, I made 556 on a dyno jet, so you're probably pushing 600 ish, 590 to 600. All right, so excuse me, guys. I didn't sleep well last night. So we uploaded this video March 22nd, 2017. So this is oops. Yeah, this is our first S video. And we uploaded that on March 22nd. So it's been a few years since we did that LSA swap. But yeah, so we've done, man, drag racing. We've done dynos. We did the transmission tune. I've probably put 5,000 miles on that setup at least. And I haven't had any issues up until, a few weeks ago. We had that stupid ignition problem causing the car to run like crap. So, and I'm sorry, someone commented, I didn't see it. Yeah, I mean, do you have a smaller pulley on the car? That's the only if you're making that much power, you have to have a smaller pulley or something different, because I think I've seen most people put down like mid 500s with a stock pulley, stock cam, headers and intake. So, whoa. All right. Wow. 5-inch intake. Okay. Do you have the RPM intake? I'm just curious who, what brand intake you went with, or did you make it? Because there's not a true 5-inch intake that really fits the SS. Yes, the RPM one works, but you need to cut it up. And for $700, I don't want to be cutting up an intake. Is it stock? Do you have the stock cam in it? I guess that's the other question. Because intake, yeah, that could make some power. Lanzer. Okay, I forgot about that. I forgot they make that. Let me look them up. Wow. That's actually impressive with just an intake and a slightly smaller pulley that you're making probably damn near 50 more horsepower than I am. $350 for that intake? That's not terrible. It comes with the VCM. So, I actually have the same plate. So that's a VCM plate. You buy it from like Improved Racing. You cut a hole in it, and that's not horrible. So that's not bad at all. I don't really like what they're doing with the neck down on the throttle body. They've got a reducer on here, probably going from 5-inch to, I don't know, what's the stock size, 4-inch? That's about the only thing I don't like. If I were doing that, I would run a 102 millimeter throttle body, and I get a different reducer, a silicone coupler, whatever you want to call it. So, Cook's Green Cats. Okay. I'll say this about the 102s. I've dyno tuned 3 of them. Well, the same one 3 times. And unless you're willing to spend the $1,000, I know it's not $1,000, but I'm just gonna call it $1,000 for a 102 Nick Williams. I wouldn't bother. Oh, excuse me. But yeah, because the boosted 102s are like $800 to $900. Just round up to $1,000 for 10 horsepower. You could buy a lot of pulleys. You get your blower ported. Like, if, you know what I mean? Like, I think you could spend your money better elsewhere. You know, not, I don't say wasting money on a big throttle body, but unless you have a Whipple or a Kong 2650 or a full race ported blower, you know, a one of the ported inlet, I wouldn't bother. But that's just my opinion. Like, I went down the cheap route. I spent the $150 on the Chinese throttle body. Doesn't work. I repinned it, still didn't work. And then finally, when we got it working, the motor's bad. So I just so someone just texted me during this chat. Sorry, guys. Um, and yes, I would spend your money elsewhere if you're doing induction updates on a supercharger. All right. What else did you say yet? Headers. The other thing is, I guess I'm mostly talking to you, Commodore. The other thing is, you've got the inch and 7/8 headers. I have the inch and 7/8 headers. I got my headers for $500 on Amazon. You could go 2-inch, but they're like $1,300 just for the headers. I'm like, for 10, 20 horsepower for over $1,000. Same argument there. Wouldn't bother, you know, unless again, yeah, 2650 full race. Like, obviously, you know, my build is a budget street car that I can cruise. Minus the ignition issues that we had a few weeks ago, you know, I would not be afraid of getting in my car and driving out to California and still get hopefully in the 20s free on the freeway miles per gallon. But I wouldn't bother with the 2-inch exhaust or the 102 millimeter throttle body. You know, for us. Now, if you're going full race car, full tilt, you know, stripping the seats out, making a drag car, sure, go ahead. I think you'd do better with the. Oh, did you have your car tuned by Fran and Race Proven Motorsports in Delaware? Or are you talking about RPM in North Carolina? There's a lot of RPMs. Hell, there's RPM transmission in Indiana. But anyway, no, I fully agree. 102 is not needed. Well, that's cool. Was your car white? They did. I saw it on their channel. I subscribe to RPMs. I like their shop. I saw them do an LSA swap probably 4 or 5 months ago. Okay, maybe longer than that. Time in YouTube seems to sound like a hot. Okay, the reddish orange. YouTube time like goes by at warp speed. Like, I think I saw a video and it ended up being like 2 years ago, but I thought it was just a couple months ago. So that's kind of what happens when you watch channels. April 2019. Okay, wow, it was a year and a couple months ago. Cool. All right. That's so weird. So my phone, the video is like pretty much instantaneous, but I watched it on my computer screen, and it's definitely delayed. You guys see that? I'll flip the camera. Yeah, that's kind of crazy. But anyway, chat these live stream improvements. If I keep doing them inside, would you guys want to see me share my screen? I've seen some YouTubers do that where they basically get a webcam or use a laptop, and they have a what do I call it? Some kind of third-party app that allows them to share their screen during the chat. I've been thinking about doing it. I think that software isn't that expensive, but I don't know. It would be better than grabbing my phone, hitting the button, and going like that. I don't know. If that's one way you guys could think I could improve my chats, let me know. Yeah, we're obviously just chilling, hanging out on a Sunday. Man, it's 9:30. Anyway, I'm glad I finished everything up early today. But all right, what else? Commodore Miles. All right. Like I've said repeatedly tonight, if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. We're doing this free form, and excuse me. Allergies are acting up. Hope I don't have the global issue. I don't think I do. I hope no one's been impacted by that. My better half's cousin actually just came down with it. She works for the mail, so she could have gotten around. She could have gotten it from her route. I don't know. Hope everyone's safe and healthy. I know the states are opening back up, but I still think this whole global issue is going to be around for a while. So, not to go down on a bummer, but it's just stuff you got to think about. All right, what else we got? Lancer intake. I may have to look into that. I forgot about them. Yeah, so if you guys have LSA swaps, do your research. There's kind of a lot of one-off companies that make parts. ADM Performance is one I can think of. It's actually where I got a lot of my harnesses. Glanzer, they apparently make intakes. RPM makes intakes. Olson Custom Works and all that. Just lots of companies that make kind of one-off billet stuff for all these parts. So, but yeah, Commodore, I think I'm gonna head out too. We've been on here for an hour, 14 minutes, and I think we're done pretty well tonight. Speaking of that, I think we are gonna log off tonight. If you guys have any questions, comments, I know I didn't even post a notification for this one, but we still got a decent amount of people viewing. Either save it for the next live stream, or if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Facebook, Instagram. If I had any harness issue with my DRL, so you're talking about the one from 5th gen DIY or something. There's another person who sells that, but I will not mention them on my channel ever again. But I believe that DRL harness is made by 5th gen DIY. You're making me laugh, Dan. 5th gen DIY. Now, Dan, I have not had an issue with mine. Take that with a grain of salt. I don't drive my car every day. I don't drive it in adverse weather conditions. So as a Sunday, my second Sunday driver. Um, I haven't had an issue with it, and I probably did that mod 3 years ago, so I haven't had a problem. But I've seen people complain about that. Um, I don't know if they've redesigned their product since then. If there's anything on the forums, I don't know about it. I don't log into SS forums anymore. I simply don't care. Um, we don't need to talk about that, but anyway, forums are pretty much dead, to be honest. Um, let's look at the Camaro. Camaro. So if they redesign their harness, I don't know. I haven't had a problem with it. I think I've seen. So it's a ZL1 Foglet? No. Their brake light. I'm trying to see if they even sell it anymore. Foglet harness, $105. All right. Oh, that's to add a fog light. Crap, I don't know. Oh, DRL harness. Sorry, Clay. Not Clay. Too many chat windows open. Dan. I apologize, Dan. I'm looking at their website right now. This harness allows you to have DRLs on at night with your headlights. Wow, that harness is only $57. I'm pretty sure I paid more from that from our special friend. If I did, that sucks. Now, I haven't had any problems with it. I think I've seen people advise to put some kind of like dielectric grease in the fitting, in the plug before you plug it in. But beyond that, I have not had a problem with it. I think what happens is in that adapter harness. Let's go back to the other screen. So I think what happens is that like rain gets in one of these weather pack connectors that shouldn't, but water gets in there and it corrodes it and it just causes some stuff to break. So that's that's kind of the comments that I've seen. I haven't seen anything really talked about that on the Facebook group recently, in Joe's group. Again, we'll not mention the other person, his group, but I haven't seen a complaint about that in a while. So I hope that's just, it was kind of a one-off thing, but I don't know. I haven't had a problem with it. Mine worked just fine. And yeah. Oh, and I don't drive a lot at night. I know it sounds kind of weird, but I work from home, and yeah, so I've got 3 cars that I drive, and I mostly drive the truck, so that might be another contributing factor of mine not having an issue. So there's my real world experience. Dan, anyone else, if you got any last minute questions, feel free to type them out. I'll be on here for a little bit more. But like I was saying, if you guys have any questions and I'm not doing a live stream, feel free to ask. Instagram, Facebook, direct messages are the best way. You can even email me. It's on my channel information. And we'll go from there. I know, and I think we'll just end it there. Yeah. So if you guys are good, I'll check the chat one more time. All right. I think we're good. So yeah, if you want to reach out to me, Facebook, Instagram are the 2 best ways to get in contact with me. I may not get back to you right away. Give it a day. It's kind of typical response times for businesses, and I'll let you know. Now, if you ask me questions that I don't know, I'll do my best to answer them. If it's a stupid comment, I will not reply back to it. So just a warning on that. So, but all right, guys, thanks for tuning in, and we will see you on a video next Wednesday, next Friday. the following Wednesday, we'll probably do a live stream 2 Fridays or 2 Saturdays from now. Like I said, I will be busy next weekend, and the Cletus pay-per-view is going on. I'm not gonna go against that because I know no one will be watching. So, but all right, guys, have a good one. Peace out.